Have you ever had a moment of profound breakthrough, a meditation that cracked your heart wide open, a search of inspiration that showed you your future, or a deep realization that you were finally, truly ready for more, and then, in the hours or days that followed, an unexpected wave of fear or anxiety hit you, harder than ever before? What if I told you that this disorienting fear isn't a sign that you're failing or regressing? What if it's actually the most powerful confirmation that you are on the absolute right track? A sign that your transformation is not only real, but so potent that your entire system is struggling to catch up. Today, we are going to explore this sacred, often misunderstood, phase of awakening. We will delve into the space between your old self and your new reality, and uncover why the moment you feel you've cracked the code is often the very moment the fear crawls back in. This isn't a step backward, it's the beginning of your quantum leap. There's a crucial moment in every genuine transformation when the fear hits the hardest. And paradoxically, it's often not at the very beginning of the journey, but right after something inside you fundamentally clicks. It happens right after that powerful meditation that opens your heart to a new level of love. Right after that crystal clear moment when you finally feel completely aligned with the future you are calling in. Right after the profound realization that something deep within you has irrevocably shifted. And just when it feels like you finally unlocked the secret, like you've cracked the code to your new reality, suddenly, almost out of nowhere, the old fear, the familiar anxiety, crawls back in. The thoughts begin racing. The nervous system starts reacting with its old, familiar alarms. Your body contracts, your chest tightens, and you begin to question everything. It's so easy in these moments to feel like you're regressing, like all your hard work was for nothing. But this, my friends, is the precise moment that most people get wrong. Because what you're experiencing in that disorienting aftermath isn't failure, it's friction. It is the energetic turbulence created when your old, familiar identity begins to dissolve and your new, more expansive quantum self begins to truly emerge into your physical reality. Most people mistakenly assume that spiritual alignment means feeling blissful and calm all the time, that once you consciously match the frequency of your dream reality, the rest of the journey will be smooth and easy. But that's simply not how profound quantum shifts work. In fact, the more powerful the new timeline you are stepping into, the louder your old survival system often screams on the way in. This is where modern biology beautifully meets ancient consciousness. Your body's primary, most primal job is to keep you alive and safe, based on the data it has collected from your past. But manifestation, by its very nature, requires you to courageously break the loop of that old familiarity and step bravely into the unknown. Your nervous system isn't consciously resisting your beautiful new dream. It's simply automatically reacting to new, unfamiliar energetic signals that, to its old programming, can feel like a threat to its sense of control and predictability. It's the very same way your muscles resist and shake when you stretch them beyond their normal, accustomed range. In the same way, your subconscious mind and your nervous system resist when you begin to stretch into a new, more expansive identity. And please hear this, that resistance is not a sign of weakness. It is definitive proof that you are expanding. This is the critical juncture where most people, unfortunately, collapse back into their previous self, back into the old, familiar timeline, not because they aren't truly ready for the new reality, but because they don't recognize this inner resistance for what it really is, a sacred call from their body to regulate, not retreat. It's a call to patiently stabilize your new, higher frequency, not because something is wrong, but precisely because something is powerfully, profoundly working. And here's what no one ever tells you. That fear, that anxiety, that pops up after a breakthrough doesn't mean you're off track. Fear, when it is observed with calm, non-judgmental awareness, is actually a potent indicator of deep transformation. It is the energetic residue of an old self, an old reality being dislodged by the undeniable presence of the new, more authentic you. Let's go even deeper into this. According to quantum physicist Dr. Amit Goswami, what we might call the quantum self is not bound by the limitations of our linear time, our physical space, or our personal history. It is a vast, interconnected field of infinite potential, a part of you that already exists in perfect alignment with your highest truth, your greatest joy, your most abundant reality. But to access this self, to bring it from the realm of potential into your tangible experience, you must learn to collapse the possibilities into a single, focused form through your own conscious, intentional observation. And that observation, that inner focus, must be coherent. It cannot be distorted by the chaotic frequencies of fear, of panic, or of the ego's desperate need to control the outcome. This is precisely why emotional regulation isn't just a therapeutic tool for healing past trauma. It is the essential, energetic bridge between your current state of being and the version of you who already joyfully, peacefully lives the reality you desire. Neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully when he teaches that your body, your subconscious mind, responds to your faults as if they were real, tangible events. When you think fearful, anxious thoughts, your body chemically, hormonally goes into survival mode. When you learn to think and feel in alignment with your desired future, your body begins the profound process of recalibrating itself to that new, unknown possibility. But this recalibration isn't always instantaneous. There is often a gap, a transitional period, where your physical body is still, on some level, biochemically addicted to the familiar chemistry of your past, to the cortisol, the adrenaline of your old stress responses, even as your conscious mind is courageously choosing a new direction. That is the gap, that is the sacred discomfort, that is the liminal space between identities, where your nervous system, out of habit, wants to desperately pull you back to what is known, and your soul is lovingly, patiently asking you to stay. So here's the empowering truth. Staying aligned with your new reality doesn't mean you have to somehow eliminate all fear. It means learning to recognize fear as a signal, not of present danger, but of imminent departure. You are departing from an old identity that, while familiar, ultimately kept you small and stuck. You are leaving behind old neural pathways that were deeply wired for limitation and survival. You are courageously stepping beyond the powerful gravitational pull of the person you've always been. And that feeling of fear isn't a stop sign. It's a profound sign that you are truly, powerfully in motion. So, when fear inevitably interrupts your shift, you don't need to panic and think you have to start all over again. You don't need to question your worthiness. You certainly don't need to try and force yourself back into a high vibration through sheer will. You simply need to learn to pause, to breathe, to observe the feeling of fear without becoming it, without getting lost in its story, and to gently, lovingly remember that your quantum self, that expanded version of you, has already successfully made the leap. Your only task now is to patiently, compassionately teach your body and your nervous system how to stay coherent long enough to meet it there. This is the beginning of a brand new relationship with fear, not as something to be defeated or eliminated, but as something to be listened to be decoded, and ultimately, to be alchemized into fuel for your journey. In our next section, we'll go even deeper into what's actually happening in your body and your subconscious mind when this fear arises. And we'll explore how to navigate it with grace, without collapsing your newfound, higher frequency, because fear, my friends, is not your enemy. Fear is simply feedback. We have journeyed to the heart of the matter, understanding that the fear that arises after a breakthrough is not a stop sign, but feedback, a sign that the leap is real and your system is recalibrating. This practice we touched upon, of meeting your body's fear with conscious presence, helps to navigate the sensation of that fear. But what lies beneath it? What are the old stories, the unconscious patterns that this fear is so diligently trying to protect? In this next section, we journey even deeper into the very art of integrating these shadowed parts of ourselves, not by rejecting them, but by welcoming them into our expansion. When you learn to integrate these pieces of your past instead of constantly trying to push them away, your personal frequency doesn't just momentarily rise, it powerfully stabilizes. Why? Because you are no longer leaking precious life force energy in the form of exhausting internal conflict. You become unified, you become whole. And that authentic wholeness, my friends, is undeniably, irresistibly magnetic. Imagine this. You're standing at the very threshold of your desired new reality. And that old, familiar wave of fear rises from within. Most people instinctively try to suppress it, to fight it, to slam the door shut on it. But you, as a conscious creator, now know to do something radically different. You sit with it, you breathe with it, and with a quiet, compassionate strength, you say to that fear, I see you, I understand you're only trying to keep me safe. You are welcome here, but we're going anyway. In that single, profound moment of compassionate leadership, you're not just making a quantum jump. You are lovingly, powerfully leading all parts of yourself into a new reality, and that very leadership becomes a clear, coherent signal, a vibrational signature that the quantum field can now beautifully, powerfully respond to, because the quantum field doesn't need you to be perfect. It simply needs you to be clear. And clarity isn't the absence of fear. It's your courageous willingness to move with it, to breathe through it, to carry it gently as a passenger, instead of letting it hijack the driver's seat. This is the inner revolution, the profound shift that sustains itself. Not because you've somehow eliminated every shadow, but because you finally, lovingly stopped abandoning them, and that, in a beautiful paradox, is what makes you truly trustworthy to the very timeline you are calling in. You're not faking it until you make it. You are courageously healing it until you embody it. That is quantum integrity, and it is felt by the universe far beyond the words you say or the affirmations you repeat. It's in your steady gaze, your deep, regulated breath, your calm posture, your entire presence. And once your presence becomes this coherent, once your energy stops fighting itself, the field has no other choice but to gracefully, miraculously organize itself around you. And that brings us to what may be the most important part of the entire leap, knowing how to stay in the gentle, intelligent flow when everything inside of you, all your old conditioning, wants to retreat back to the familiar, not by forcing, not by controlling, but by gently, continuously, and lovingly recalibrating. This is where we go next. You already know how to visualize. You already know how to set powerful intentions. But the real leap, the one that sticks, happens in those challenging moments when your inner world begins to tremble. And instead of running, you remain, you witness, you feel, and you consciously choose not to collapse back into the old pattern. That is the moment when you truly shift from being a mere student of manifestation to becoming the living, breathing embodiment of quantum presence, not by forcefully ejecting the fear from your system, but by having the courage to stay with it, to breathe with it long enough for its dense energy to naturally, beautifully transmute. Because here's what most people don't realize. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing your emotions. It's about staying fully, consciously present while they move through you. It's about being the calm, unwavering observer without losing your center. When you can stay conscious inside of discomfort, when you consciously choose to soften your body instead of harden it, when you breathe into the sensation instead of bracing against it, you are literally, on a neurological level, sending a powerful new signal to your nervous system. You are patiently, lovingly training your body to feel safe inside of expansion, inside of the unknown. And that is the unshakable foundation of sustainable, lasting transformation. You don't need to be in a perfect, blissful, high vibration emotional state all the time to stay in alignment. You simply need to be honest. You need to be deeply compassionate with yourself during the process. True alignment is about coherence, not about rigid control. It's the moment-to-moment decision to keep tuning your energy back to the field of your future self. Even while your old, conditioned self whispers its familiar fears. This is the delicate balance that most people miss. They chase a high vibration, thinking they must always feel euphoric or ecstatic. But the quantum field doesn't respond to your fleeting mood. It responds to your vibrational consistency. Your job isn't to be perpetually fearless. Your job is to become fluent in your own energy. To know, with gentle awareness, when your heart is starting to close. Enter lovingly, consciously open it again, to know when you're beginning to act from a place of survival. Enter gently, deliberately return to a state of trust, to know when your mind is spinning anxious stories. Enter lovingly, drop back into the simple, grounding truth of your own breath. In those thousands of tiny, conscious choices, made again and again, your new reality is formed. The quantum field, remember, doesn't operate on linear time. It operates on frequency. This means your desired timeline is never far away in the future. It's simply a shift in vibration away from where you are right now. And that shift often happens subtly, quietly, in the simple moments when you choose to stop reacting and start consciously breathing. It's in how you choose to stand up from your chair, with intention or with weariness. It's in how you choose to respond to a difficult message from your new self or your old one. It's in how you consciously hold your spine, your posture, when a wave of doubt creeps in. Those are not small, insignificant details. They are powerful entries in the new vibrational code you are consistently, consciously emitting. Let's make this even more tangible. Imagine you're deep in the middle of your quantum shift. You've been visualizing, you've been practicing presence, but suddenly, something from your day triggers you. A memory, a financial setback, a thoughtless comment from someone. Your stomach instantly tightens, your chest collapses, and your thoughts begin to spiral into that old, familiar narrative of fear or lack. In that sacred, pivotal moment, you have a conscious choice. You can collapse back into the old, familiar timeline, reinforcing the very patterns you wish to leave behind. Or you can pause. You can take one deep, conscious inhale. You can let out a long, slow exhale and gently remind your body, your nervous system, it's okay, we're not going back there. You can place your hand over your heart, feel its steady beat, and whisper to yourself, we are safe, we are expanding, and I am choosing to remain in my power. This is how quantum flow becomes your new default state, not by resisting the waves of life, but by learning how to gracefully, skillfully ride them when your body wants to close in fear. You consciously soften when fear pulls you back into the past. You gently recenter yourself in the present. You don't suppress the emotion. You allow yourself to feel it all the way through, without losing the new, dominant signal of who you are now choosing to be. And in doing so, you become more than just a manifester. You become a transmitter, a stabilizer of timelines, a conscious creator of coherence in what can often feel like a chaotic world. When you consistently choose to regulate instead of retreat, your energy field becomes powerfully magnetic. Your new timeline stabilizes, and the quantum field responds not just to your fleeting desires, but to your unwavering devotion to your own becoming. If you have come this far in the journey with us, if this profound message has met you exactly where you are, and if you can feel something real, something true, shifting inside of you as you listen, then consider this your personal invitation to go even deeper. This journey we are on together is more than just sharing content. It is a transmission of energy. And you are not just passively watching, you are actively, powerfully participating in your own magnificent shift. You have made it through not just this video, but through something far greater, your own internal resistance. That subtle yet powerful wall between who you were conditioned to be and who your soul is now calling you to become. Even if it didn't feel dramatic, even if there were no fireworks, you still shifted, because every time you chose presence instead of panic, softness instead of defense, and the conscious breath instead of a reactive collapse, you made a quantum jump. And these jumps are rarely loud. They are most often made in the quiet, courageous stillness of the decision to stay aligned. No matter what, you have probably realized by now that the version of you living the life you desire was never truly far away. That version wasn't waiting for you in another country or in another decade. It was simply vibrating on a different channel. Right here, right now, and every moment you choose to regulate, to breathe, and to embody your new frequency, that version steps closer, not as a distant fantasy, but as your present, embodied identity. This is how real, lasting transformation happens, not by force, not by a struggle for perfection, but by courageously practicing your truth right in the middle of the chaos, by remembering who you are when your past calls you back, by choosing to honor the version of you that sees beyond fear and still, with unwavering faith, says, we continue. So, if you are listening to this right now and a part of you still wonders whether it's truly working, let this be your definitive confirmation. It is. Every time you choose to pause instead of panic, to breathe instead of brace, to observe instead of react, you collapse another old, limiting loop. You unhook from another outdated pattern. And that, my friend, is the leap. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are certainly not too late. You are in motion. You are remembering. You are, in this very moment, beautifully, powerfully unfolding. If this video found you at precisely the right time, if it reminded you of something ancient and powerful inside you, then see this as your sign to not let the random algorithm of life decide when you remember this power again. Subscribe now, not because you were told to, but because something deep inside you, your quantum self, wants to stay connected to this field, this resonance, this rhythm, this powerful frequency that you now carry. This is more than a channel. It's a transmission, a community of conscious creators. And by subscribing and ringing that notification bell, you are declaring your commitment to your own evolution. And now, I invite you to anchor this shift. Tell me in the comments below, not just what changed for you, but what new reality are you ready to fully embody? Describe it in one powerful sentence, not as a wish, but as a recognition. Let your words be the signal that tells the field, I'm already here, because when you have the courage to name the life you are now living, you powerfully activate it in others, and the entire field responds in kind. This is how we shift. Together, thank you for your magnificent energy.